Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this session on how to maximize your budget with revenue attribution. We'll be getting started here momentarily, so bear with us. We'll give it another 30 seconds to 60 seconds to allow other attendees to join. Thank you very much. Wonderful. If you're just joining us, thank you once again for taking the time out of your morning or afternoon, if you're in the East Coast, to join us for this webinar on revenue attribution. We'll be starting here in just a couple seconds. Please bear with us. We'll just allow any other attendees to join. Thank you. All right, so we'll be kicking it off here. Thank you once again for joining us. Today, in this webinar, we're going to be covering how to maximize your budget with revenue attribution, a very, very exciting topic. I really certainly appreciate this topic because it is in many ways how we as marketers determine our overall impact, right, in sales. So really exciting. So for today, how revenue attribution can help you maximize your marketing budget, invest in the most profitable channels, and boost your overall ROI. So really exciting topic once again, and we'll be kicking it off. So for our agenda today, the tools you need for tracking revenue attribution. We'll also be covering how to combine your marketing and sales data. And then the highest performing digital marketing tactics we've seen. So we'll be talking about all of these and then some additional information as well that will be really, really helpful. Before we kick it off, a little bit about myself. So I'm Eduardo Silva. I'm the VP of Sales here at Foot Traffic. I'm really, really excited to be joining the team this year. I've been an advisor here for the last 3 years. My background is in sales and marketing. And this industry is fascinating in many ways because it offers so many opportunities for growth, for sophistication, and really, really excited to be part of it. Before we kick it off, a little bit about Foot Traffic. So we are a trusted digital marketing agency. We've been doing digital marketing services, if you will, for the cannabis industry specifically for the last 4.5, going on 5 years now. We cover all of the legal states in the United States as well as Canada. So that's pretty much all of North America. At any given point, we may be working with 200 or so dispensaries across the country. We're not specific to one region. So that's really what's great about working with us because we do have a breadth of experience across several different compliance factors when it comes to digital marketing. The way I would summarize Foot Traffic is we are a digital marketing agency and a marketing analytics agency. Okay? We're not a branding agency. So what that really means is that we focus on revenue generation for our customers. Wonderful. So let's get ready. A couple of housekeeping items here. If you would entertain me, please put your cell phones on mute. We're going to be covering a lot of information here in a very short period of time, so less distractions will amount to more information absorption for us. Familiarize yourself with the Zoom interface. I feel like after the whole COVID crisis, everybody has become an expert. So this may not necessarily be new to you, but from a webinar standpoint, if you navigate to the top, you should see a Q&A section there. We do have panelists who will be helping address any questions live. So this way it makes the webinar a lot more efficient. So please go ahead and get yourself familiar with the interface. Feel free to ask any questions throughout the webinar via the Q&A, and we'll have a break here towards the end as well for questions and answers. But that way, anything that is pertinent to the slides we're going over, you can get real-time answers. Be sure to stick around. We have a special offer for attendees here that will be specific to whomever is on the webinar today. So we'll be sharing that with you towards the end of the webinar. So today we're going to be covering a lot of information once again in a very short period of time. We only have 30 minutes dedicated to this webinar. Thank you very much. So let's get started. If someone asks you to determine which of your marketing channels were resulted in the most sales, could you answer that question? If you need to showcase how your efforts are contributing to your dispensary's bottom line, could you paint an accurate picture that would ensure your marketing budget doesn't get slashed in the next budget cycle? And if your marketing budget does not get cut, or does get cut for that matter, would you know where to invest your remaining dollars to get the best return on investment? If you answered no to any of these questions, then you need to evaluate how you're tracking your revenue attribution. Revenue attribution is the act of determining the marketing efforts that have led to sales. It sounds very simple and logical, right? With digital marketing, you want to know that the money you invest on Google Ads, for example, Geo Ads, SEO, SMS, social media, are resulting in sales, as well as how many of the sales can be attributed to each of these channels. That is revenue attribution. So here's an example of what a simple revenue attribution chart might look like for you, right? So once you have revenue attribution through your e-commerce platform, you should be able to pull up a very simple graph or explanation of the sources of your revenue and be able to communicate this internally. So for example here, right, looking at this pie chart, I think we can all agree that we have a leader in revenue generation, and that is SEO. So if I was the owner of this organization and my marketing team came to me with this pie chart, I would know where I would want to invest more money, right? That is SEO, $93 for every dollar spent. And this is an actual example of one of our clients, okay? So it's a realistic way to visualize your e-commerce's revenue. When you're able to show revenue attribution, especially when your C-suite wants to see the effects of your marketing team's effort, it's crucial that you are able to use all of the information at your disposal. Revenue attribution allows you to effectively measure your marketing efforts so that you can invest in the ones that bring you the more sale. To us, that is a very clear value. Now, revenue attribution isn't anything new. Marketers have used various models for years to show the impact of their different advertising campaigns. However, according to a HubSpot research, 43% of all marketing teams say that proving ROI is their biggest challenge. Now, that's all marketing teams, not just cannabis industry. So if revenue attribution sounds so intuitive, why is it so hard? Part of this is just not knowing that it exists. The other part is not being able to get the information necessary. It makes sense that we want to have this info, and it's clearly useful, but there are some e-commerce platforms that don't provide metrics to their users, and some e-commerce platforms that don't understand the value of revenue attribution. But if you aren't getting all of your sales data, you're missing the big picture. As digital marketers, we want to get the most out of our client's budget. We want to show that everything we are doing is providing a benefit to our clients. And that's how we're generating sales for them. Otherwise, why would they even hire foot traffic, right? So let's talk a little bit more about this. So now that we know why it matters, let's dive into what you need in order to track revenue attribution. First, e-commerce tracking from Google Analytics makes getting the metrics you want very, very easy, as long as you can install it. We've used it with compatible online menus, and it's helped our clients get a better idea of the impact that their marketing budget is having on their bottom line. Be sure to ask your online menu provider if they have an integration with Google Analytics. And if they don't, it is very important that you hold them accountable for that. Enabling e-commerce tracking lets you monitor how many new and returning customers are visiting your website, how they're finding your site, and how many are actually purchasing, and how much they are spending on your website. These metrics are vital to determining which marketing channels yield the highest ROI. Did they engage with your Google Ads, for example, and then click through a special landing page? Did they see your ad on ESPN's website? Did they search for a dispensary near them? And did they end up on your website from that source? All of this information helps you determine how you're getting your sales. As mentioned before, not every e-commerce for cannabis allows for this, though it is a standard operating procedure for digital marketing and e-commerce outside of our industry. While it would be great to have everything set up right from the get-go, our industry is still maturing, and there's a learning curve that goes along with that. So some e-commerce have started integrating this information to better serve their clients, and some don't have it on their roadmap. If you find that your POS or your e-commerce doesn't allow you to get this functionality, then you can either hold them accountable or find a better solution, because to you, it will be very important to be able to prove your revenue sources. By failing to gather revenue attribution, you could be wasting thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing that isn't getting you any sales, and you wouldn't even know it. If our current economy, for example, that is a big mistake that nobody can afford, right? So during this existing crisis, every single marketing budget dollar counts. For example, if you're spending $2,500 a month on social media and you're only resulting in $250 in sales, as this example shows, you're losing $10 for every dollar you're spending. Alternatively, if you allocate that part of your budget to SEO, you could be making $93 for every dollar you spent instead of losing money. Now, is this information valuable or not, right? Some platforms have this data, but they just don't share it. Dispensaries need to take control over revenue attribution to make important business decisions. Marketing impacts your business bottom line, and not having revenue attribution means that you're flying blind. When it comes to a billboard, radio ads, or other types of traditional advertising, it can be even harder to determine how much sales is generated. Thankfully for dispensaries, there are better marketing strategies that are both compliant as well as measurable. You need to track two things, right? The conversion and the sale. The conversion is a desired action. So in digital marketing, this is a click, like clicking on a link which leads a client to your menu. From the conversion side, we need to know what propelled a person to make a purchase. Basically, what is the touch point that made the conversion into a sale? Sometimes there isn't one touch point, there are several. Maybe a client searched on Google, clicked your link, and then dug around on your website but left. Then another day, they saw your Google ad, clicked, and made a purchase. With the integration directly into your e-commerce platform, revenue attribution will show you this pattern. From the sales side, We need to know how much they spent on their purchase. This information will all go into your revenue attribution model. When you sync Google tracking with your e-commerce, you can see the source of the web traffic, their conversion rate, and the number of transactions from each one of these sources. You can also see the total revenue that can be attributed to a specific source, as well as the average customer spent. As long as you have the right platform in place, this is easy for us to set up for you. E-commerce conversion rate. You need to know your end goal to accurately define conversions that align with your business goals. An e-commerce conversion rate is the percentage of website visitors who purchase something from your online store in a set period of time. Transactions is the total number of completed purchases on your website. The total revenue from web, e-commerce, or in-app transactions, depending on your implementation. Average value per transaction. All of this information can be derived if you have the right solution in place for your e-commerce. Sources of revenue. In this look at the Google Analytics dashboard, you can see the e-commerce conversion rate, number of transactions, and revenue from each marketing channel. We highlighted organic search from SEO, which in this case is responsible for 44% of all revenue through the online menu. This is extremely valuable information. So let's talk a little bit more about SEO. Organic traffic remains one of the largest drivers of traffic to many of our clients' websites. And to get high quality organic traffic, it's crucial that you have an SEO strategy in place. SEO stands for search engine optimization, which is the practice of increasing the quality and quantity of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. Now, organic search traffic is unpaid traffic that comes from Google. Search engine optimization shows that your page is relevant for particular keywords. In our business, that may be San Diego Dispensary, Detroit Provisioning Center, or Santa Rosa Marijuana Delivery. Now, optimizing your site around these keywords make it more likely that people who are looking for your services will find you. When you have a good SEO strategy, two things will happen. One, you will show up higher in the search results, and two, you will get more organic traffic. When you rank better in Google, it helps create brand trust and authority. It shows searchers that your site is relevant and that it may be more helpful to them. They automatically equate higher rankings to quality. In fact, the top 3 positions in the search tend to get 75% of all of the traffic. The lower you are on the search result, the less traffic you will get. And it's not just any web traffic. Thanks to optimization, right, the part of search engine optimization, SEO, this traffic is going to be relevant and high quality traffic, and that's why it leads to more sales. These are people who are already looking for you. They're already interested in what you're selling. More than half of our clients' online sale comes from organic traffic. Their SEO strategy have more than shown their value and exceeded their expectations. One client, for example, has an ROI of $93 for every dollar they're spending in SEO. That's a no-brainer, right? But you will only get these metrics if you are tracking, right? Revenue attribution. Next, text messaging, right? SMS is the most widely used communication channel available today. So not everybody uses email or makes phone calls regularly any longer, but 90% of Americans text. That means that your customers text and that you need to be using SMS marketing as part of your digital marketing strategy to communicate with your customers wherever they are. By creating a unique link, and this is what we do for our clients, right? Link that you send to your SMS subscribers, you can track who clicked the link and how many sales it led to. Not only is SMS marketing inexpensive, but it helps you increase sales and build relationships with your customers. Google Ads is pay-per-click advertising hosted on the world's most popular search engine. When you use it right, you can get your dispensary ads above any organic search result. So think about the value of that for a moment, right? 93% of internet searches in North America, 93% of internet searches in North America are done over Google. It's the most used search tool in the world and the one that's most popular amongst your customers. So if you have your ads set up right, you can start appealing to potential customers who are looking for a dispensary near them and send them right to your menu. Part of the research and the reason that Google Ads is such a high ROI tool is that you're advertising to people who are already interested in the service. You're not putting up billboards and hoping that someone who's interested in what you're offering as they're driving by will actually act on it. Google Ads is targeted advertising that it's meant to reach the individuals who are predisposed to want to buy from you. And when executed correctly, these ads can quickly increase your web traffic and help drive sales. Our customers can make $6 to $48 for every dollar they spent on Google Ads. Now, to put that in percentage, that's 4,800% ROI. No brainer. Geo advertising, which is sometimes called Geo Ads, is the use of display ads on mobile devices within a specific set geographic region. You're definitely seeing them while browsing on your phone. Plenty of companies outside of the cannabis industry use this practice to increase their reach, including Amazon and Wayfair. Now, why? Because Geo Ads allow you to connect with new customers in your target market. Online display ads help keep your dispensary front and center with your customers. Once they enter on the perimeter you're creating for your ads, they will see your ads if they use any of the mobile sites or apps within this network of advertisement that we leverage. Again, one of the biggest problems facing dispensaries is lack of compliant ways to advertise. Our Geo Ad service not only addresses this concern, but we make it the whole process so easy. So take back control over your marketing efforts and start tracking. With the right e-commerce platform and digital marketing tools, you can learn more about the effectiveness of your efforts and reinvest in those that are more likely to score you higher returns. Without this in place, you can guess what may work, but you won't know. And chances are you'll be surprised that what's working best isn't always the channel that you believed was going to produce the best ROI. But you won't know until you get this put into place, right? So we do have an offer for you as promised. This is a deal that we put together, and it's become really, really popular for new customers. So this is 500 new customers for $16.50 per month, okay? So we leverage a combination of advertising platforms here. This is both Geo Ads and Google Ads to drive this result. Couple things that we require, right? E-commerce tracking is one of them. I bet you were thinking about that already, right? We need to know how these deals are converting in order for us to report back to you, hey, here's those 500 customers, right? So very important there. So once again, 500 new customers for $16.50 per month. And once again, this deal's scalable, right? So if you're in a heavier saturated market, we could even go to 1,000, right? It's fully scalable for you. But the idea here is that we give you an opportunity to get started with some of these tried and tested marketing initiatives. And we do have a timetable right, around when we would deliver those 500 customers for you. That's within 90 days, right? So once again, 500 new customers, $1,650 per month for 3 months. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll talk about it. Let's open up for questions. Once again, feel free to use the Q&A section here. Happy to address any questions surrounding revenue attribution or any of the information you've seen here on the slide today. Great first question here. So what is some of the lowest return on investment we've seen, right, that we've tracked? So we see obviously different markets have different impacts, as you can imagine. But one of the loss leaders, I would say, is always been social media for us, at least as we've seen. Most of our customers that invest in social media, they normally don't have a method to turn that social media engagement or those followers into active participants or buyers. Well, we figured out a way to do that, right? So for the customers that we have been working with, we've been able to actually turn around that loss leader into somewhat of a production zone as well, right, of orders. And one of the ways that we've done that is integrating it directly into our SMS marketing strategy, so we can create a code, right? So we can engage with them. Every single campaign in social media now is tracked, right? So it's really, really wonderful. Great question here. So we have a question about FlowHub and LeafLogix allow for revenue tracking. Yes, they do revenue tracking. And then the follow-up question was ordering via Dutchie. So Dutchie is one of the prime examples of a great platform for revenue attribution. Why is that? As of late last year, Foot Traffic partnered with Dutchie and every single e-commerce out there to try to push revenue attribution as part of their e-commerce play. And Dutchie was one of the only ones that came to the table and said, absolutely, the customers want it, let's develop it. And so Dutchie is offering that today. There are only 2 other online e-commerce platforms that are offering that we know of after all of this work, and that is Ola as well as WooCommerce, okay? All of the other e-commerce platforms to this point, we have not seen this capability, okay? Thank you for that question. Wonderful. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to sit with us through this webinar. It's been obviously very informative, a lot of information. If you would like to engage with us, ask any additional questions, this is where you can link directly to a call scheduling. Happy to take a call, happy to answer any follow-up questions. And, you know, the other thing too is that by sticking around here, you have qualified for a Yeti tumbler, okay? So feel free to schedule a call. Let's get you set up. Let's get you a Yeti tumbler. And really, really appreciate your time today. We'll put this link here on the chat as well. So foottraffic.me/call. Once again, my name is Eduardo Silva. I am your host for today. I want to thank you for joining us all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much.